All right, hello everyone. My name is Nicola, and welcome back to the yet another video. In my previous video, we were talking about the team managed projects, and today we're gonna be talking about the projects that you're gonna be encounter the most at your job if you're working as a Jira admin, and those are the company managed projects. So the company managed projects are intended for teams that actually want to collaborate within several projects, that they want to have some kind of a standardized workflow. It's also going to be more complex workflows, but then again, it's really important to say that company managed projects only and only can be created by Jira admins. So what is important also in here that is you have the complete control over issue types and custom fields, that you have the detailed permission schemes, customizable workflow statuses, and issue transitions. Let's dive into it. So first of all, you gotta know that you're in a company managed project when it says that you are in the company managed project. And as you can see right from the get-go, there are differences in here. More columns have been added in here, and this is actually by the default. So when you create a company managed project, the default statuses are going to be a backlog, selected for development, in progress, and done. So those are going to be the default statuses and columns that are actually in there, and those statuses are reflected on the workflows themselves. All right, so a couple of things that you can actually do in here. So when you go to configure your board, immediately you're going to see the difference in here. So first of all, what you can actually do is you can set up your board administrators. So board administrators basically are, like the name says, the board administrators, and what actually they do is that they administer this whole board. They're not like administering the project itself. They can make the changes within a board. So it means that they can update the columns, they can go and change the swim lanes if they want, quick filters, card colors, card layout, and etc. The first and very most thing that you need to know about the boards themselves, that boards are basically the visual representation of a filter. So that means that each board will have their own filter. So when you change a filter for a specific board, the board is gonna be changed visually as well based on the filter that you have selected. Now, you have the options to share the filters when you go to edit filter shares, and you can share your filter by default. This is within a project where everyone that actually basically joins the project, they can see all of the issues on the board itself. You can actually change this for the viewers. You can say the viewers can be a group, an organization, a user, or it could be a private filter. For editors, if you want to have multiple editors of the filter itself, you can actually change it in here. So to be project, group, user, or private. Now, as you can see right here, it's based on the query that says project equals to CM order by rank ascended order. So this query is actually the JQL query. So that is a querying language that Jira actually uses in order to do some advanced searching, right? So you can do a lot of advanced searching using the JQL. Also, it's using the ranking, And you have like projects, inboard, company managed. So you can actually go ahead, and when you say view permission, it will lead you to this screen right here. So we're gonna talk about this just in a bit. The thing that I wanted to say is, when you have a Kanban board, right, in a company managed project, so this, what happens in here, that when the issues have been completed, what this means, that they're within the done status category. So I just want to repeat once more, because there are 3 status categories in Jira. You have to do, in progress, and done. So when something is in done status category, this means that issue is finished. All right. And when it's finished, you can hide the completed issues older than 2 weeks. You can adjust this and say 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or you can say, never mind, I want to see all of them. It's your personal preference in here. Then you have like the columns. Now, in the team managed project, what you actually had is to go and say, I want to have the maximum number of projects to be of issues to be 10. In here, in the company managed projects, you also have an option to select a minimum issues in that column, and you can set the maximum issues in that column as well. So what you also can do is you can set this constraint to be none, so you don't want to bother with that. And in here, as you can see, there's some stuff in here. So this is, I believe that this is actually a new feature in here, that basically you can set a resolution. Now, to set the resolution for the done is actually pretty straightforward. When something is done, the resolution field actually exists in there. Like, and for the resolutions, you can even add your own resolutions. And you can say it can be done, it can be accepted, it can be rejected. Rejected could be an example when an issue gets from the open status to immediately to the rejected status for some reason. Okay. And in here we have the checkbox of the setting the resolution. And usually in here the resolution is set to done. Then you have like the swim lanes, and basically the swim lanes, if I go here and if I create an issue, and if I say highest prio, and I select this to be the highest priority in here, what would happen is, as you can see in here, it says expedite. But if I create a normal issue, let's say, so what happens in here it says everything else. So this is actually swim lane. As you can see, it is like divided into separate, well, lanes. Like when you're swimming, you see the swimmers and they have those swimming lanes. This is it. And this is actually based on the JQL query. Right, moving on more to the boards, you actually have for the quick filters in here that you can do. You can create your own quick filters, but in here by the default are the recently updated ones and only my issues. For the car colors, this is actually an interesting one, because car colors can actually allow you to make kind of a structure within your board. Let's say you want to have let's say you have labels, right? And you have labels for, let's say, API, labels for design, labels for let's say networking or security issue, or doesn't really matter. So you can actually use this, right? And you can use this by, let's say, queries. And I want to say in here, when the priority is actually the highest, I want you to paint this in red. And what happens in here, as you can see, when I make the changes, these edges get filled in red. Now, some may ask, well, can I color the whole card? By the Jira native feature, you cannot do that, but using the third-party app that is called Color Cards, you can actually do that. But this doesn't really actually work like it was intended to work on server, because on server it was working like it was intended to. It actually colored the whole card. Now in here you would have to select the color cards and go to the board, which actually fulfills this whole board here, and this whole board starts to lose sense, and you only get those colored issues. I mean, you can use it, but it's not really redundant to be used. More important, I want to jump to the project settings in here. So for the project settings in here, you have name, key, URL, project type, project category, and the avatar. Also description, project lead, and the default assignee. So these are actually the ones that you will see in the company managed projects. Now, for the project category in here, you can actually change this. If you go to your cog, go to the projects, and go to your project categories. So here you can add the project categories, and when you add the project category, when you refresh your project, you will be able to add it basically to the category that you have selected. Then you have summary. Do you see how different this is than the team managed project? You can see the issue type scheme, you can see the workflows, you can see the screens, you can see fields, you can see development tools, notifications, permissions, roles. Everything that you need is in here. In the team managed project, you actually had access. Here you have people. Now, in order to add people to your project, you cannot do this with your free plan. You need to upgrade your plan in order to add people to your project. Now, when you're adding people to your project, basically when it comes to the roles, there are three default roles that are in Jira. First one is the administrator, the second one is the member, and the third one you actually have users, and then you have viewers. So it's actually 4, right? And administrators, they have the highest rights. They can basically do a lot of stuff when it comes to the project, not when it comes to the site itself. So they can they can add new people to the project, they can remove people from the project, they can do all of that great stuff in the project settings. When it comes to, well, members, users, I would say my personal opinion is that basically they have the same rights like every user needs to have. They can create an issue, they can edit an issue, they can add attachments, they can remove the attachments, they can do all of that stuff that is really needed for someone to work within your Jira project. While the viewers can, like it says, they can only view the project. But there's some things that they can do that I really didn't know. Now I was confused. So if I go in here and if I say viewers role Jira, they can search throughout. All right, so yeah, this is for the team managed project. So this is a different thing. Okay, but viewers in the company managed projects, they can only view things. They cannot touch anything. That is the whole point. Permissions. And this is the permissions for the project. Each project has their own permissions that is tied to the permission scheme. Right? So this is tied to the permission scheme. And there are a lot of permissions in here. And one thing, well, that is being asked in here is like, okay, should you be able to see all of the projects, right? All the projects within the instance, right? So this is the browse project permission. So that is the ability to browse projects and the issues within them. And by default, it's application access. So it means any logged in user can actually do this. I wouldn't actually add this, really, because you don't really want anyone to see what you're actually doing on your project. Why do you actually want to have that, really? So I would change this definitely. And then there are like a lot of permissions in there that are basically going on. And there is a separate article about this, so I can leave the link in the description so you can read more about this. Notifications, right? So for the notifications here, when you have like an issue is created, an issue is edited, you're assigned to an issue. So you have like watchers of the issues, you have the current assignee, and the reporter. I believe that everything is basically self-explanatory. You have the automation rules that you can actually create. This is pretty good because you can do a lot of stuff with the automation rules. A lot of things that you can replace by not doing the manual work, which is actually pretty great. You also have the features in here as well, where you can enable a lot of the features. Workflows. So when it comes to the workflows within a company managed project, you have a workflow scheme, and within one workflow scheme you can add as many as possible workflows within your project. What actually this means? Well, for example, in here you have like the issue types of story, bug, epic, task, and subtasks. So when you would create a workflow scheme, a different one, and when you would switch this workflow scheme with the new one that you actually created, but then again, you need to create a separate workflow for each of these issue types. So for the story, bug, epic, task, and subtask, all of those workflows need to be separate. So yeah, I know it's a manual work that needs to be done, but it is what it is. Then you have like for the issue types. So in here you can edit your issue types. You can actually remove the issue types from your project, and you can add a new ones that you have actually created. So that is actually something that you can actually do. Then you have the issue layout. So this is basically how the issues are being presented when you go to your create screen, right? So when you go to create screen in here, as you can see, so there are like description fields like summary, and there is the summary, there is the components in here, so we have that as well. And in here it says hide when it's empty, right? So it says we couldn't find any components for this project because, well, there aren't any because I haven't added any of them. Then you have for the report a fixed version. So basically these are the reported ones that are being created by Jira. And of course you can modify this as well. Screens, right? So within a screen scheme, as for the workflows, you have workflows and workflow schemes. You have then screens and screen schemes. The only difference in here is that basically there are three types of screens by the operation that it has been done. So there is like create screen, and there is like view screen, and there is like the edit screen. Now the thing is, each of these issue types can have different screens for creation, for viewing, and for the editing. And also you have for the fields. Now when it comes to fields, as you can see, it says here something like wiki style renderer. Now what actually is the wiki style renderer? So let me explain it. So when you go to create, and you see that this description has some added things. So if this wasn't like wiki style renderer, this would be like a default style renderer that would be presented as the regular text field. But instead, you have these options in here, like in Microsoft Word. When you have like bullet list, you have numbered list, you have options to add the image, links, and all of those good things. So those are for the fields, collectors, and security. Well, this is like if you want to have the issue security. So this is like if you want to hide some of the issues from the people on your project. Honestly, I haven't seen a lot of requests regarding this, so you're not gonna be using this as much. Components, yeah, you can add components in here. I don't wanna have the compass components because I'm not using compass because it's a different product. So in here you can create your component and then you can add to your project, and then you have like the apps and the development tools. So this was actually a pretty long talk when it comes to company managed projects. As you can see, a lot more options to be added and a lot of more customization that can be done within the company managed projects themselves. Alright guys, that would be it for today's video. Make sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and comment, of course. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.